it.
Hello out there, thanks for joining us on Political Platform. It's our examination of political developments in Nigeria. In the last 24 hours, we'll be gathering reports for you and we'll give it to you, do analysis of those reports and developments around Nigeria. And we also take from your thoughts and your observations by way of your contribution through politicalplatform@yahoo.com. And we share. And at the end of the day, we are all well aware of the very, very top developments in the polity in Nigeria. Now, we have the group, our Mumu Don't Do campaigners suspending their protests in Nigeria yesterday. And they say they are going to re-strategize. The reactions continue to pour into our mailbox. Both sides of the coin on whether it was proper for Charlie Boy and his group to go to the marketplace. Some say it is proper, some say it's not proper. We have some of them in the mailbox. And a new party has been registered in Nigeria, the APP, Africa People's Party, bring it to the number 46, the number of political parties in Nigeria. And the Independent National Electoral Commission said yesterday it is ready for the 2019 elections. And many will say, foul. It is not correct. You are not ready. So many things need to be done. Well, they say strategically they are ready, whatever that means. But we'll also be examining whether the Independent National Electoral Commission is indeed ready, considering what we have, what we know. We have followed their track on what they do in Nigeria in preparations for elections, whether indeed they can be ready as we speak now. And El Zazaki, the protests erupted again in Kaduna yesterday, and the ugly side of this protest is always that the streets are blocked and economic activities are brought to a standstill when the pro-Ezazaki protesters always take to the street. But we want to praise and thank the security agencies for the maturity in handling that protest yesterday, that at the end of the day, it's a matter of the march, and after the march, they all went differently. We just hope that there should be a new thinking on how to get our policemen and other security agencies how to handle this protest. It's a very serious matter when we have democracy flourishing and we have people exercising their rights to protest. The security agencies must be abreast with a new idea, and that they must realize that it is the rights of citizens to protest, and they must begin to work to educate their men on how to handle protest, just as the National Orientation Agency and the Ministry of Information and all those who are involved in handling the public information should also begin to step up the game in educating Nigerians the limits of protest. The ASU strike, the federal government has said yesterday that it is partly responsible in nurturing all the problems that culminated in the strike action that the university teachers in Nigeria have embarked, the strike that they have embarked upon. And of course, there's no end yet. We can't see it because all the dialogue or the attempts to talk are not yielding any fruit. So the universities are under locks and key with the teachers throwing away their chalks and the blackboard. And we have more and more universities, particularly the state universities, joining in the strike, except, of course, the University of Ilorin, which says it is not part of ASU. We'll be taking a look at all of it, but our major focus today will be on the FCT. We have talked about the FCT severally, and we are going to be interrogating some of the developments and the challenges in the FCT this morning for your own consumption, so you know what is happening in the nation's capital. Those who say it is beautiful are correct, but those who say it's getting dirtier are also correct. So we have a guest who will be helping us to examine the issues this morning. Ohiri Agbonsuremi is my name, and I have Jomajuwe with the Independent National Electoral Commission. And they say they are ready. Are they ready?
I think for now, for what we can see,
they are kind of ready, and the continuous voter registration exercise across states is already going on. We hear some state governors commending the process so far, but Anambra State Governor came out to say he will want an extension because their election is coming in November.
Well, we are not there yet, Joma. We are not there yet by the expectation that the acting president should sign, because it's still a long process. Dr. Amaechi and Akwe, you know that it just passing the what do you call it now? The various clauses in the amendment is not just, that's just the beginning of the amendment to the Constitution. We still need the states. We still need it to come back, and then the two houses will have to harmonize. It will go to the state, they will sign, they will endorse or refuse, and they will come back before the president will give assent.
For the Constitution.
For the Constitution, yes.
And has the amendment of the Electoral Act been concluded?
Yeah, the amendment of the Electoral Act is different from the amendment of the Constitution.
The Electoral Act is the principal guide. For the
I think the National Assembly have gotten to a very, very high
They
level.
are working on it.
Yeah.
I just raised the question with a view to, I just wanted to juxtapose with what INEC has said. We are ready.
How can they be ready when they don't even know the law?
Deployment of funds. Do they have adequate funds? Will they come out tomorrow to complain of we don't have funds after promising us that they are ready, and we don't have an act? Fully amended Electoral Act that will guide that election. So maybe on their own part they are ready. They think they are ready on their own part. But INEC is not the only stakeholder involved in elections in Nigeria. The political parties, the electorate, the National Assembly, name them. But I want to commend the Minister of Education, Adamu, for coming out openly. It's rare for persons in government to accept blame and responsibility. He did it, and I doff my heart. A problem identified is a problem half solved. Now that government has accepted responsibility, we hope they will
that is over the ASU
yes,
strike,
ASU issue. It's very rare. Politicians always play to the gallery, but he has proved that he's from a different extraction. Let's see him quickly match it with action by ensuring that the industrial dispute is quickly resolved.
Okay, my worry about elections in Nigeria is when we take a look at what happened in Kenya recently. Are we not going to experience such problems where they go to hack the electoral commission?
So
how ready is INEC
for
that?
You said you believe they are ready.
No,
Those are the questions.
Said based on their strategic plans.
Okay, because the strategic plan is just a working document. Yeah. It doesn't put funds on the ground, doesn't amend the law. We have guidelines to be issued. They don't even know under which law they are going to be. Whether it will be rejected by the president or accepted, they are not aware. They can't say they are ready. They are getting ready is the best.
Ready.
They are getting ready is the best. Maybe they just want to raise our hope
and show on
assurances, optimism that everything will be fine. Now let's go to our mailbox, political platform at yahoo.com. But just before we go to share your views, let's take a break and we'll be back.
Bust it.
They present the popular radio program Political Platform on the Ray Power FM network. Ray Power FM Political Platform, now on television. Keep track of the country's polity and be part of the process as they discuss and put political developments in the country into perspective. It's Ray Power Political Platform on AIT Abuja.
Welcome back from the break. It's the mail segment, and I'm Amaka Okoro.
I'm Saiti Yari. Welcome.
We'll begin with a mail from Wamadu Ozom from Umodioka in Olu, Imo State, and is reacting to the ASU strike. The mail reads, I define education as the only means of liberation from sickness, disease, ignorance, poverty, unemployment, insecurity, underdevelopment, and superstition. No responsible government which knows its onion will toy with it. So I implore the federal government to go into serious dialogue with the ASU towards finding lasting solution to all this strike. Education plays the social, political, and technological advancement of the country. Let the federal government put education on the front burner on our yearly budget in order to make education at all levels cheap, affordable, and accessible, without which all efforts at taking Nigeria to a higher level will continue to be a mirage.
Emmanuel in Lagos disagrees with yesterday's analysis on the platform over the Charlie Boy saga. He says, when will the platform call a spade and not pretend to be neutral? What on earth did Charlie Boy and his Mumu Dondu group go to Wuse Market to do, if not to look for trouble? Ohiria, are you saying that Charlie Boy went to Wuse because police attacked them? What an ungodly lie of the highest order from you. Yes, there is a right to protest, but your right stops where other people's right begin. You guys are using your platform to support an irresponsible act of a 66-year-old adult who knows very well that this sponsored protest is not making any common sense because President Buhari has not broken any Nigerian law. It's unfortunate that Charlie Boy and his group ended up getting the attention they wanted from the media, and you wasted 30 minutes talking about it. Charlie Boy is educated enough to know that there are boundaries in any act. Ohiria, when next you start your storytelling, please state the facts and stop adding pepper and salt.
And still in that light, but a different opinion. This particular one is coming from Samuel Ote from Lagos State. The mail reads, Charlie Boy was almost lynched by pro-Buhari protesters for asking obvious questions. Are they above the law? Should we not exercise our rights as Nigerians because of the fear of violence by northern youth? Where is the one Nigeria we keep talking about? I think the media should wake up and report issues as raw as it is, no matter who is involved. Enough of this cowardice, enough of this enslavement of other religion in the name of one Nigeria. God bless Nigeria.
Shegun Akeju also reacts and says, yes, nauseating, but ask yourselves the sense in an anti-Buhari protest taken to a market where most of the youths are uneducated and pro-Buhari. Just imagine a vexatious pro-Buhari campaign in Araria Market in Aba. Should a protest be taken to a market? For what reasons? Charlie Boy and his team went to the market to cause riots and violence. Charlie Boy and his team were insensitive to divergent, emotional, political, and ethnic attachments held by Nigerians. I am not in support of violence, but I won't go to Aba or Onitsha markets to shout death to Biafra.
And still in that light again, Samson Ojutalayo from Kuje in Abuja says, Charlie Boy is not seeking fame or popularity. The fact that you don't agree with his lifestyle and philosophy does not make him a social misfit. Charlie Boy, majority of the crowd that stoned Charlie Boy and his group are living in abject poverty and have been beclouded by the evil hydra-headed sword of sentiment, religion, ethnicity, hypocrisy, bigotry, and the reality of the difficulty of the time the country is going through. To say that they are most pitiable is an understatement.
Pat Imalgene in Abuja says, I want to use this medium to call on the National Orientation Agency to wake up from her slumber and urgently embark on the nationwide campaign to douse the anger and tensions of people by promoting peace and tolerance. Funding shouldn't be an excuse. The NOA should be innovative and run with the times by using all available medium, including the social media, religious gatherings, social and educational gatherings. They should also seek support from wealthy individuals, corporate bodies, and celebrities. If Nigeria falls apart, everyone will be affected, directly or indirectly. This is not the time for excuses or pretense. This is the time to act. I also call on every well-meaning Nigerian to promote peace and tolerance in all we do so as to move the nation forward. God bless Nigeria.
And this is how far we can go on today's mail segment. Do keep sending your contributions to us. Send them to politicalplatform@yahoo.com.
Bust it.
They present the popular radio program Political Platform on the Ray Power FM network. Ray Power FM Political Platform, now on television. Keep track of the country's polity and be part of the process as they discuss and put political developments in the country into perspective. It's Ray Power Political Platform on AIT Abuja.
Thank you so much for staying with us on the platform. A lot of things to talk about. Dr. Amici has already said the Minister of Education should get all the accolades and the thumbs up for owning up to all the events. The federal, in fact, his ministry inherited some of the problems, and the federal government over the years didn't act well to prevent what is now going. But it's beyond accepting the blame or taking the blame. What do we do next? Now, his counterpart in the Ministry of Labor is not taking the blame. Chris Ngige, known for his astuteness and the way he sees things straight unfortunately is dancing around it. He says the ASU strike was not called in accordance with the extant provisions. Is that what we should be talking about? There are issues on ground. It's just like what our friend Hiedu Anyango usually say on this program. You see a snake, and then you set up a committee to kill it. When you can quickly go there and kill the snake. Now the strike is on. Is it time for the minister to be talking about the procedural, method, the method used, the procedure in taking on the, or look at the issues, just like the minister of Education has said. Let them all come together and say, how do we solve it? Let them meet the university teachers and sincerely look at the problems the way they are. If they can't have all that the teachers are demanding for, let them call for a scheduling of some of the agreements. Let them be humane and let Nigerians also support them if we see that they are seriously taking a look at the matter. The way it is, the teachers probably will burn out their candles and wait. They will see nothing if we do not have to sit down quickly now to solve the problems the way they are.
We are looking at the mentality of Nigerian policymakers, mostly of whom their children are either schooling in some of the best private universities or some schools abroad. And we have sustained that kind of mentality for a very long time. And the attitude of Adamu, who did counter to what most professors from academics who were education ministers have done in the past, is because it's not from the academics. Those from the academics are the worst enemies of the academic environment. All the education ministers that we had from the academic cycle during the strike, we all knew how they misbehaved, how they decamped to the other side. So Adamu is not from. It's actually in the media. He was in the media, and we give it to him. And then I want to quickly respond to one of the mails. Most people make the mistakes of thinking those they see around market selling, sachet waters, chin-chin and whatever, are illiterate. What they don't know is that you have a lot of graduates with diplomas, NCs, and degrees, because they don't know the big men up there. They cannot get jobs.
So they are happy themselves with the
yes. So if you see those people around Wuse Market joining the protest, your greatest mistake is to think that they are illiterate. I've seen dispatch riders in Lagos with PhD, with MSc. I've seen degree holders chauffeur driving, bosses in the office, simply because they don't have anybody to endorse them.
But there's another way to even look at it. When you say somebody is illiterate, what are you talking about? Illiterate.
He doesn't know how to read and write.
What does it? People who can read and write in Arabic
and in Hausa language or Yoruba.
I think our listener was guided by the fact that some group reacted violently. So for someone to
they are not educated
violently, even if they are educated, they were miseducated.
Well, it is one that we continue to get your reactions on, but good enough. We have a lot of lessons and the takeaways from some of those happenings all around. But let's come to the FCT, the Federal Capital Territory, that we always love to talk about here with regard to how it is operating. The current minister of the FCT, Bello, has come under the very, very intense criticisms over the last time. Before, he's a very quiet way of approaching it. Some say he's working quietly and silently. Some say no, he's docile and he's just sitting down there doing nothing. No action, nothing's going on. But we have Raymond Obina, who is of the Good Governance Action in Nigeria, and he's helping us this morning to examine what is happening in the FCT. A lot of things are happening. The income of the councils we hear are being abridged, and the councils can't take some of the go to some of the areas like the tenement rate that they were supposed to collect in the last 1 month or so. The FCT has stopped it. Whether they are re-strategizing, we do not know. We have what we have complained about over the years: the lack of development in the satellite towns. Where we have just the city center where the president and the ministers and the house members, all of the National Assembly members stay. That's the only place everybody is having attention. But go to the satellite towns, you find primary schools with just one teacher in a primary school in one of the local governments in the state, in Kuje specifically. You have a primary school with just one teacher. Anybody who wants to know which primary school is that, we can provide you all the details. Or you go to the Abuja, the original inhabitants, the Abuja original inhabitants development association, who have been singing this tune that there are dearth of developments in the rural areas, in the rural Abuja, and that we are just in the city center and they're pretending that Abuja is developed. Raymond Obinna, welcome to the program. What have you been taking notes on? What your group have been taking notes on this? What have you been taking notes on?
I want to believe that this minister is not doing enough. I think he's being very docile. That's my honest opinion. That's our honest opinion at the Good Governance Action. Because you cannot take away something like the tenement rate from the area councils without providing a solution for them. For instance, as of last year, 88% of AMAC's revenue was from the tenement rate. How can you take away 88%?
What did the law say?
Yeah, the law.
Yes.
The law says that it's the National Assembly that has to prescribe the rates. The National Assembly.
But who collects it? What did the law say?
The collection is no doubt. It's going to be the area councils.
So why did the government stop it? Why did
the government stopped it? Because the rates were prescribed, I believe, by the councillors.
Well, because on this program, Obinna, we have said that if we have any think tank within the FCT, the local government, in fact, the FCTA administration,
yes,
one veritable way to collect or raise revenue is tenement rate.
Yes.
And that many houses built big houses all lied. Now, some of them not even occupied. And it's because the reason they are not occupied is because nobody is paying tax on them. And they came up, some local government came up with a view to fixing the rates. I think in some areas, circulation of information had been done to sensitize the people on the need to pay rate. I saw some of the rates that were brought out. I wouldn't know why the FCT administration, the minister, would stop it.
The statement released by the FCT minister was about the rates not being fixed by the National Assembly, that they had to be fixed by the National Assembly. But you do not take away their means of livelihood without preferring a solution.
But why did the local government just not follow the procedure of getting the National Assembly to fix the rates?
Well, that I don't know.
Yeah, because they probably have, if they know that is the law, they can agree and then approach the National Assembly, which makes laws for the FCT to fix the rate.
Yes, but you know the minister in this case has a dual role. He's a minister and he's also like a governor.
Yeah.
Those boys, those local government area chairmen are under him. You know, he needs to call them together and they come up with a plan, a general plan for the well-being of the entire council, for the well-being of the entire FCT.
Now, is your group suggesting that the old rates should continue to be collected until we fix the new rate?
Yes.
Or is that what you are saying?
Yes, that's what we're suggesting. They need to come together. They need to do something like what Lagos is doing. You know, Lagos has like a consolidated land charge where the state runs it and they now pay a percentage to the area councils, to the local government areas.
Yes.
Meanwhile, the state now collects like a service charge for the service provided.
Okay.
If that kind of solution was proffered to the area council chairman, they wouldn't say no.
Okay.
Now you said the FCT minister is docile, and from what you have said, your reason is that he insisted that the collection of tenement rates should not be done
arbitrarily,
by the local councils, area council. Are you being fair to him? Is that the only your only justification for saying he's docile?
Maybe there are other
development strides he's undertaking in FCT.
Yes, like for instance, now I am not aware of anything happening in the satellite towns or the area councils.
Tell us about that.
No form of development, waste everywhere. Of all the new infrastructure projects announced, no one has gone to the area councils. The ones that were established or they initiated by the last administration have all been dormant. There has not been any concrete move, visible move to reactivate these things. And in November, he'll be a year in office. He'll be a year in office. The problem that we're having is that there's a lot of inaction happening here.
Well, let me take it to if you talk about waste. If you are entering Abuja from Nasarawa State, there's a place that's almost like, or if you are coming to the Kashi area on there's a dump there that's almost taking over the entire place. Is it the FCT minister or the local government or agency? Well, I don't know who should actually take the blame for the upsurge in the waste mismanagement in the FCT.
The truth is that it has to be a collaborative effort. But in all those rural areas, the local government areas take charge. But you cannot perform your duties when you have 88% of your revenue taken away. There is no money. You have to pay salaries. What do you do? What do you do?
Are there no other means of generating revenue?
No.
Are the area councils solely dependent on tenement rates?
Yeah. What about waste? What about waste? I mean, a lot of revenue lie in waste collection,
Yes.
recycling, and something. Is that somebody is not thinking?
No, it's not that somebody is not thinking. For instance, let's use the AMAC chairman, Honorable Abdullahi Adamu Candido. He has co-opted a lot of private sector partners to come and collect this waste, right? And collect the revenues,
Yes.
and they can share on state. That's something he has started doing because he doesn't have money to pay upfront for the council to pack up all this waste. Now, those kind of moves are the only reasons. In fact, those kind of moves are the only reasons why the council is surviving, why the councils are surviving, because there is no cash, there is no support. There is no support. That's just the honest truth. There is no support. You need to call
for the councils.
For the councils, because you need to, because when the allocations come in, they have about 1,500 staff to pay salaries.
There are challenges, but we cannot solve it all. We can't have it all on today's program because our time is up. We promise you that we'll give you more time, and we'll also give the FCT administration time so we can. Nigerians, wherever they are living, even those who are abroad, who are proud that they have a federal capital territory, will know how the city is run. Okiri Agbonsuremi here. Please do have a wonderful time, and remember to join us on all our platforms to listen and watch the program.
Bust it.